Okay. Buenas noches. Hola, mis estudiantes, and welcome to lesson number 26 of the 13 weeks of Spanish pilot program. Today, we are going to talk about, and it's all about, there is, there are, there were, there used to be, etc. I have gone, and we had studied. What do these different functions have in common? The verb haber, one of the trickiest verbs in the Spanish language. So what does the verb haber mean? It means there is, there are. It also means to have, not as possession, but to have gone, to have walked, to have studied, to have taught. End of lesson, not. But these are the two bases for this lesson. There is, there are, have gone, have studied. Let's talk more about them. So, Julie, what is the verb haber used for? There are two uses of this verb in Spanish. One is to form the perfect tenses. If you happen to have the book this one, you must get this one if you're going to speak Spanish well, because it is our Spanish verb Bible. Seriously. I don't know how many editions of this I have gone through. This one is the 6th one. But just, here you go. Read it again. Just 501 Spanish verbs. Just Google it. You'll see it on Amazon. You'll see it on Barnes and Noble. You can probably walk into your favorite bookstore and get it used. Please get it used because it's pretty expensive. But this verb teaches you all about all of the tenses. And we're going to be covering all of the tenses. And it teaches you about this one. And it gives you lists of conjugations, which you need for this verb. But it also explains what the perfect tenses are. I'm not going to go into an explanation of the perfect tenses. Why is it perfect? Why is it called perfect? Because it doesn't make sense to me. It's not as simple as the Hebrew. But this is how we know something is in a perfect tense. I have studied. I'm not saying I study. I'm not saying I studied. It's I have studied. You can't substitute. Oh, hi.
Hello.
Good to see you, Lisette.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
You know something? Can you hear me?
Yep.
If you can hear me, nod your head. Oh, okay. Because I can't hear you and I know why. So I'm going to stop the video. I'm going to stop the recording just for a second. And I will change my speakers because I had it on mute. So hold on just a second, okay?
Okay.
Do recording and get back to the share. And now we keep going. Okay. Very good. So any questions before I don't remember when you came on?
No.
Okay, all right. Okay, so now we're working with haber. We have two uses of this verb. Right now we're talking about the perfect use of it. So we have phrases like, I have studied. You had studied. It's not the same as you studied. It's not the same as you were studying. And we never get it wrong in English. We know when to say I studied and I had studied. Same as in Spanish. They know when to use either one. But what we have to do is recognize that haber is used when we say I had done something, or they have done something, or they had done something, or they had not done something. But we see that we have haber plus the past participle. And we'll talk about how to form that, create that in a few minutes. But for instance, my brother will have studied. We would have studied. You girls may have studied, but those guys might not have studied. So all of those sentences use have plus the past participle, and that creates what is known in grammar as a perfect tense. All you need to think about is have plus that past participle, and you'll know what to do. So we also have another use for the verb haber, which is neuter existence. What does that mean? There are, there were, there was, there will be, there would be, there may be, there might be. These are all neuter existence. Why? No active subject. When we say there are 3 dogs here, the dogs are not the subject because they're not controlling the verb.
Mm-hmm.
So there are is a neuter, but it's existing. So it's a neuter existence. And we'll talk about that in a future slide. So how do we form the perfect tense? Conjugate haber in any of those 7 tenses that we saw and add on the past participle. Of course, now the question is, how do we form the past participle? Last lesson talked about that. So,
Ido.
correct. You take an AR verb, bajar, bajado. Take an ER verb, conocer, conocido. And you take an IR verb, omitir, omitido. So we have I have studied, he estudiado. Unfortunately, haber is a very irregular verb.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have to memorize it. The best way to memorize is gestures and say the word. Okay? You had not studied. No había estudiado. And now, of course, we're talking usted. Roberto will have studied. Roberto habrá estudiado. We would have studied. Nosotros habríamos estudiado. You gals may have studied. Ustedes chicas hayan estudiado. But those guys might not have studied. Pero esos chicos no hubieran estudiado.
Wow.
We will get to may have and might have. And those are very, very general definitions of those 2 last tenses. It takes a while to understand those 2 last tenses, which are the subjunctive tenses. But this is a basic idea, excuse me, of haber. The premium class would go into this a whole lot deeper. But right now, you have an idea of what it means. You will, when you are reading You will see them start to pop out all over the place. When you hear someone speaking, you're going to start to hear ado, ido, and your brain is going to remember that there's an haber in the front, and it will start to listen to two words instead of just the ado or ido. You gotta give it time, but it does happen. Okay, now let's talk about neuter existence. If we say, I am a professor at 13 Weeks of Spanish University, we have an active subject, so not neuter existence. However, if we say, there is a professor at 13 Weeks of Spanish University, professor is not the subject. How do we know? What's your idea?
Because the verb is, so professor is not the, I don't know how to say it. But.
No, that's the thing. It's confusing because professor is a third person.
Mm-hmm.
Is a third person word that would go with is.
Yeah.
But subjects in English generally go before the verb, not afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So there is the way it looks, there is the subject, but
right.
There isn't a subject.
Yeah.
So that would make it neuter. This is what neuter existence is. There is, there are, there used to be, there was, there will be, there might be, etc. So now in Spanish, there are. I'm sure you've seen that word.
For sure.
Okay. There were. Había. Now this word is tricky. The rest are tricky because sometimes they will come with ados and idos after them. But then you know then that it's not neuter.
Okay.
So había estudiado is not neuter because once you have that ado there, you know something else is happening. Then we've gone to the first meaning, perfect tenses. And
Okay.
Perfect tenses apply to active subjects, not neuter ones. Okay, so if it's followed by, well, there'll be an example where you will see how can we tell if it's a perfect tense and how can we tell if it's neuter existence. But we'll do that.
So is for there is.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yes, there are and there is I.
Okay.
Thank you. I was doing so well. But there's an error in the.
It's okay. It's okay.
I was thinking, oh my goodness, I got all my accent marks. But I forgot that there is. Thank you. You're correct. There is.
Mm-hmm.
There are is I.
Mm-hmm.
There were. In the sense that, yeah, okay. Here's, I knew there was something a little off when I reviewed it twice. What había means is there used to be.
Okay.
Or there was and were in a habitual situation or a continuous situation. And that's going to be our next lesson.
Oh, okay.
What's the difference between había and hubo? Or the difference between fue and iba? Or era and fue? Or estaba and estuvo?
Yeah, so confusing.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But this is the difference between the two. There was, there were, había is continuous. There was, there were, one time finished, hubo.
Oh, okay.
And we will talk about that in lesson 27. There will be, habrá. There would be, habría. There may be, haya. There might be, hubiera. Have you seen hiera in magazines, reading material?
Era?
Uh-huh.
I don't. Oh, how's it spelled?
That last
The
word
last one?
with the last 4 letters.
Oh, I don't recognize it. No.
Okay. It's going to start popping out at you now.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's something sometimes I just see or hear and I'm like, I don't know what that is. Move on. So yeah, it could
Yes,
be one of
yes,
those.
yes, which is fine.
Yeah.
Which is fine because sometimes we get too hung up on stuff we're not ready for yet.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, very good. Okay. Anyway, I think you will start seeing it since now the eyes have looked at it.
Yep.
Okay, and the ears have heard it. All right, so let's go into examples. Would you please read this? Just the best way you can. Take your time.
Okay. Let me move because this okay. All right. Desde la planta del pie hasta la cabeza misma no hay en el lugar sano.
Keep going.
Okay. Heridas y magulladuras
Mhm.
y contusiones frescas no han sido exprimidas ni vendadas, ni ha habido ablandamiento con aceite.
Okay, very good. Very good. Okay, so tell me which one is neuter existence and which one is perfect tense.
The first I stands out to me to be neuter.
Okay, how do you know that?
Because I was thinking about it in English.
Bad girl, bad girl.
Well, because I don't really see the subject there. Like the one, yeah, I don't see the subject. I see from the like I think the like the bottom of your feet till to your head. There isn't something. Yeah, so I
There's,
don't see the subject.
okay, all right, okay. Without
But
hands, oh, go ahead, go ahead.
the second one, there is a subject. The heridas y magulladuras y contusiones frescas. That's the subject.
Okay,
And for the ni ha habido, I would say those previous things are still the subject of this.
okay, all right. Instinct is a wonderful thing. Always use it. You are correct about the first one.
Mm-hmm.
You are correct about the second one. You are correct about the third one for the wrong reason.
Okay.
Okay, I'll make it even easier for you. I doesn't have an either or ado afterwards. So it's neuter.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Okay.
That's here is a miracle, a Spanish grammar rule that is absolute.
Okay.
You will never see the word I followed by an ido. And you will never see an haber conjugation followed by an ido, making it neuter.
Okay. Yeah.
Did I say that? Ha habido un accidente. No. Excuse me. I shouldn't say. There is a situation where you are going to get neuter with without a subject. Most of the time, you're not going to find it that way. But it just so happens that that third one,
Yeah.
haber.
Yeah.
And so sometimes, like, ha habido un accidente means there has been an accident.
Okay.
And you wouldn't say hay habido. You can't say that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, but you are right that there is a subject. No, I'm sorry. Wait. No, actually, no. There is no subject. It's neuter.
So can you tell me what that second sentence means, please?
Okay. First of all, if heridas and magulladuras and contusiones were the subject of the second ha habido,
Yeah.
then it would be plural.
Yeah, true.
Okay. Now, what we're thinking, ablandamiento, well, that looks like it could be a noun, and there's no ese, so it has to be singular. So we're thinking, oh, okay, that must be the subject of ha habido. That seems to be, that would be the way an English speaker would think.
Okay.
Especially since we know in Spanish, sometimes the subjects do come after the verbs because it's a very flowery language, a very elegant language, a very poetic language, and sometimes they like to put subjects, not in front of the verb, but afterwards. But this one, do you know what heridas is? I'm not sure.
I don't remember. Yeah.
Okay, injuries.
Okay.
Injuries. Magulladuras is like bruises,
Scrapes.
scratches, scrapes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Contusiones frescas looks like the English.
Contusion.
Contusions.
Contusion.
Fresh contusions and recent contusions have not been squeezed out, like squeezing out the pus, squeezing out the last bit of blood so that you can bind them up.
Okay.
Which is what vendadas means.
Okay.
But haber, the perfect tense, when you use haber as a perfect tense, you're putting haber in the front and haber as the past participle. And that is neuter. That's a neuter use of haber. Nor has there been, is what you're saying. Ablandamiento with, do you know what aceite is? I'm sure you've seen the word.
I've seen it for sure, but I don't remember what it is.
Oil.
Yeah.
An ablandamiento usually means softening, but this probably means a curing. That kind of softening, making it nice. Cleaning the wound with oil prior to wrapping it.
Okay.
But with ha habido, since haber is used with haber back to back, now it does become neuter. Even though you have a noun afterwards. That's a very, very specific use of haber.
Okay.
As in the neuter existence.
Okay.
Okay. In the longer class, we'd talk more about this. All right, what about this one? We're running out of time, so these eyes, are they neuter or perfect?
Y su país está lleno de plata y de oro y no hay. They're neuter. I is neuter.
Even though there's a noun afterwards. Good. Both of them are neuter?
Yes.
Yes, because I is always neuter.
Right.
Always. Okay, what about this one?
Oigan. Oh, cielos. Y presto oído. Oh, tierra. Porque va mismo ha hablando. Um, it's used with the participle, so it's not neuter.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you see a participle, it's not neuter except for haber.
Okay.
All right. Very good. Okay, so homework. While you're studying, make a chart or create a table with 2 columns, neuter and perfect, and note down each use of haber in the proper column. So you're studying. To the side, you've got a piece of paper. 1 column says neuter, 1 column says, excuse me, perfect.
Okay.
Write out enough words so that you can see clearly what it is. Don't just write the word.
Okay. Yeah.
Just write the haber word.
Yeah.
Write like 3 words.
You see the context. Yeah.
2 words to the right, 2 words to the left.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Good. So the next class is there used to be past preterite versus past imperfect. Very important class. Very good. Hasta la próxima.
Hasta la próxima. When you stop the recording, please, can you go back to, there's a slide that I would like you to go back to, please?
Okay, I have stopped the recording.